Good morning, dear readers. Well, the good news is we were 42 reading this book. Still 42. Although it's August, a lot of people are on holiday, but we are still reading. I have my cup of coffee, and it's really, really hot in Belgium. I think it was only like almost like 35 degrees yesterday. I don't remember exactly. But in the morning, I need my cup of coffee, and we're going to read page 54, 55 of Les Misérables, one of the most sold books in the world, French book by Victor Hugo. And you remember that the bishop said to Jean Valjean that he could take the silverware, the police was not supposed to arrest him, and so this has shaken him terribly. So, quand Jean Valjean était sorti de chez l'évêque, on l'a vu, il était hors de tout ce qui avait été sa pensée jusque-là. So, when Jean Valjean had gone out of the bishop's house, chez really means like at the bishop's. On l'a vu, we saw it. He was outside everything that had been, no, everything, yes, he was outside everything, yes, what had been his thought until then. So everything he had thought until then didn't count anymore because of what happened at the bishop, which means the police came, said Jean Valjean was guilty, but the bishop said, no, 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 I gave him the silverware. Il ne pouvait se rendre compte de ce qui se passait en lui. So he could not, and se rendre compte means to realize, he couldn't realize what happened. To happen is se passer, what happened inside him, inside him. Il se roidissait contre l'action angélique et contre les douces paroles du vieillard. So he, and then we have the verb se roidir, means like to stiffen up. So he stiffened, he became, yes, motionless in front of the action, the angelic action, and in front of the soft words of the old man. And those soft words were, this is what he's going to repeat, vous m'avez promis de devenir honnête homme. So you have promised me to become a honest man. Je vous achète votre âme. So I buy from you your soul. Je la retire à l'esprit de perversité et je la donne au bon Dieu. So I take it, and it's the soul, it's his soul. So the bishop says, I'm buying your soul, and I take it away, retire, I take it away from the spirit of perversity, and I give it, so your soul, I give it to the good God. That's what the bishop said. Cela lui revenait sans cesse. So that came back to him sans cesse. Well, permanently, it's really like without stopping, without ceasing. Hein? Cesse is a bit like to cease in English. Il opposait à cette indulgence céleste l'orgueil qui est en nous comme la forteresse du mal. So he opposed to this, well, indulgence, let me translate it by maybe forgiving, this indulgence céleste, this celeste means heavenly forgiving. the pride that is in us like a fortress of evil. So, first of all, he did not want to give in to these nice words. So he opposed those feelings with, what is the word? Orgueil. Orgueil is pride. Okay? Il sentait indistinctement que le pardon de ce prêtre était le plus grand assaut et la plus formidable attaque dont il eût encore été ébranlé. Well, guys, you see, you need a lot of courage to read today also, but I'm sure you will keep reading. So, il sentait, he felt, without distinction, that the forgiving of the priest was the greatest attack or assault and the most, what we can say, formidable attack of which he had encore till now been shaken. So those soft words were the biggest attack he had ever felt. Ébranlé means to shake. He had been shaken by this. It was like an assault. It was like an attack. Que son endurcissement serait définitif si il résistait à cette clémence. So that's what he felt. He felt that his endurcissement means his hardening, the hardening of his soul, would be forever, définitif, forever, if he resisted to this clemency or mercy. If he resisted and if he did not appreciate this forgiving of the bishop, then his heart or his soul would be hard forever. Que, s'il cédait, il faudrait renoncer à cette haine dont les actions des autres hommes avaient rempli son âme pendant tant d'années. So that if he gave in, so if he took into account the soft words, if he gave in, it should be necessary to, yes, to renounce to this hatred of which the actions of the other man had filled his soul during so many years. So the thing that kept him going was the hatred. En means hatred. So if he gives in to those soft words, then he has to renounce to this hatred. I hope you are still following because it's not easy at all. Et qui lui plaisait, and which pleased him. It's as if he liked this hatred towards other people. Que, cette fois, il fallait vaincre ou être vaincu. So that this time it was necessary to vaincre, to win, or maybe to defeat or to be defeated. Être vaincu. Okay? I hope this is clear. Et que la lutte, une lutte colossale et décisive, était engagée entre sa méchanceté à lui et la bonté de cet homme. Okay, so and that this fight, an enormous fight and a decisive fight, was engaged, this fight was between two elements, and those elements are, so entre means between, so his nastiness of him, so his own nastiness, and the kindness of this man. And this man, it's the bishop. So that's really what's happening inside his soul. Am I going to listen to the kindness of this man? Okay, let's go on. Let's speed up a little bit. Ce qui était certain, ce dont il ne se doutait pas, c'est qu'il n'était déjà plus le même homme. So what was certain and of which he did not doubt anymore, it is that he was already not anymore the same man. C'est que tout était changé en lui. It's that everything had changed in him. C'est qu'il n'était plus en son pouvoir de faire que l'évêque ne lui eût pas parlé et ne l'eût pas touché. So that it was not anymore in his power to do as if, de faire que, to do as if the bishop had not talked to him and had not touched him. Okay, so he had already changed. Jean Valjean pleura longtemps. So Jean Valjean cried for a long time. Il pleura à chaudes larmes. He cried with hot tears. That's how you say that in French. Il pleura à sanglots. And pleurer à sanglots, it's like you make those noises. So it's, I think in English we would say sobbing. Huh? Like he cried, well, he sobbed. Avec plus de faiblesse qu'une femme. Avec plus d'effroi qu'un enfant. Okay, so with more weakness than a woman and with more fear than a child. Not sure we're still allowed to say those things nowadays, but it's old literature. Pendant qu'il pleurait, le jour se faisait de plus en plus dans son cerveau. Un jour extraordinaire, un jour ravissant et terrible à la fois. So while he was crying, well, le jour might be the day, but it could also be the light. I think here it's more the light was making its way, se faisait, was making its way more and more inside his brain. An extraordinary day, or light, extraordinary light. Here I would rather say light. A ravishing light and terrible at the same time. Sa vie passée, sa première faute. Yeah, so because this is a very, very long sentence, so let me translate it bit by bit. Sa vie passée, so his past life. Sa première faute, his first mistake. Sa longue expiation, so his long, let's say, purification. Son abrutissement extérieur, his exterior degradation, he looked more and more vile. Son endurcissement intérieur, the hardening inside him, so his soul was becoming hard. Sa mise en liberté, réjouie par tant de plans de vengeance. So his mise en liberté is his release, his rejoiced release, because he was in prison before, by so many plans of revenge. Ce qui lui était arrivé chez l'évêque. So what had happened to him at the bishop's place. And arriver, remember, arriver could be to arrive, but also to happen. So what happened to him at the bishop's place, la dernière chose qu'il avait faite, the last thing that he had done, ce vol de 40 sous à un enfant. The theft of 40 cents of a child. So remember, these 40 cents were under his shoe and he stole it from a child. crime d'autant plus lâche et d'autant plus monstrueux qu'il venait après le pardon de l'évêque. So it was a crime even more coward and even more monstrous that it came after the forgiving of the bishop. So even after that, he still had something evil in him. Tout cela lui revint et lui apparut. All that came back to him and appeared to him. So everything since the beginning of his life. Clairement, really, very clearly, mais dans une clarté qu'il n'avait jamais vue. But in a, let's say, clearness that he had never seen. Okay, this was the first page. Let me see if I can scroll to, this must be, yes, this is page 55. Ah, that he had never seen jusque-là until then. Il regarda sa vie et elle lui parut horrible. So he looked at his life and but she, it's his life, because life in French, it's feminine, and it seemed to him horrible. Son âme, et elle lui parut affreuse. So he looked at his soul and, again, she, but so his soul seemed to him affreuse, hideous. Cependant, un jour doux était sur cette vie et sur cette âme. But in the meantime, a soft day, a nice day, a sweet day was, oh no, let's say again light. This is not day, light. Remember, jour can be day, but can also be light or daylight. So in the meantime, a soft light was on this life and on this soul. So this was the chance of his life. Il lui semblait qu'il voyait Satan à la lumière du paradis. It seemed to him that he saw Satan, so the devil, at the light of paradise. Combien d'heures pleura-t-il ainsi? So how many hours did he cry ainsi, like that? Que fit-il après avoir pleuré? What did he do after having cried? Où alla-t-il? Where did he go? On ne l'a jamais su. We have never known it. Su, it's the past tense of savoir. So one, you know, you can use on, it means one, but very often translated by we will never know it. We have never known it. Il paraît seulement avéré que dans cette même nuit, le voiturier qui faisait à cette époque le service de Grenoble et qui arrivait à Digne vers 3 heures du matin, vit en traversant la rue de l'Évêché un homme dans l'attitude de la prière, à genoux sur le pavé, dans l'ombre, devant la porte de Monseigneur Bienvenu. Okay, so, il paraît, it seems only, ah non, il paraît avéré. It seemed only to be acknowledged, avéré, that in that same night, le voiturier, it's like a chauffeur or someone who's driving a cart, who was doing at that time the service from Grenoble, which is a city in France, and who arrived at Digne, it's also a city in France, around 3 o'clock in the morning. So this man, this voiturier, this cart driver, saw, while crossing the street of the bishopry, a man in the attitude, in the position, let's say the position of prayer. on his knees, on the cobblestones, le pavé, in the shadow, in front of the door of Mr. No, not Mr. Bishop Bienvenu. So that must have been Jean Valjean. Okay, and then, well, this is not the story itself. It happens at the same time. But so, les années se succèdent. So the years went by, succeeded one another really, but they went by. À Paris, une jeune ouvrière est séduite par un étudiant. In Paris, a young worker, so it's a girl, a young worker, is séduite, she is seduced by a student. L'amour passe, love passes, goes away. Le jeune homme la quitte, the young man leaves her, goes away. Fantine reste, Fantine stays. Elle est enceinte, she is pregnant. And Fantine, it's, well, those who've seen the musical, those who know the book or the story, Les Misérables, know that there is a very important person in that story, and it's Fantine. So she's pregnant. Sans ressources, elle confie sa fille à des aubergistes de Montfermeil. So without resources, this girl, she trusts her girl, so her baby, her girl, to the innkeepers of Montfermeil, which is also a place. Mais les Thénardier s'avèrent un couple aussi abject qu'intéressé. But so the Thénardier, so it's the family Thénardier, but so it's those are the innkeepers. S'avèrent, well, were proven to be a couple as despicable as interested, meaning interested in money, of course. Au fil des années, ils maltraitent et exploitent la petite Cosette alors qu'ils gâtent leurs deux filles, Éponine et Azelma. So, during the years, au fil des années, they ill-treat or they abuse and exploit the little Cosette. So Cosette, she's the baby girl or the daughter of Fantine. You will also know her if you have seen the musical Les Misérables. So they exploit her, abuse her, whereas they spoil their two daughters, Éponine and Azelma. Croyant Cosette entre de bonnes mains, Fantine s'installe à Montreuil-sur-Mer, sa ville natale, pour gagner de quoi s'acquitter de la pension demandée par les aubergistes. So, thinking or believing that Cosette was in good hands, entre de bonnes mains, in good hands, Fantine, the mother of Cosette, settles down, s'installe, settles in Montreuil-sur-Mer, her birth city, to earn de quoi s'acquitter, enough to pay, de quoi s'acquitter means enough to pay the pension or, the money asked, the money which is asked by the innkeepers to keep her daughter. Là, elle est embauchée dans la fabrique dirigée par un mystérieux philanthrope qui a été nommé maire de la commune. So, there, elle est embauchée, she's hired in the factory directed by a mysterious philanthropist who has been named mayor of the commune or of the city or the village. Arrivé quelques années auparavant dans le plus grand anonymat, Monsieur Madeleine semble maintenant avoir gagné la confiance de tous, sauf peut-être celle d'un homme. So, having arrived a few years before, in the greatest anonymity, so nobody knows who he is, and you maybe can guess who he is, because he changed names. Mr. Madeleine seems now to have gained the trust of all, except maybe the trust of one man. Nous sommes en 1821. We are in 1821. One small part and we are finished. C'était un homme d'environ 50 ans qui avait l'air préoccupé et qui était bon. He was a man of more or less or around 50 years old who had, no, avoir l'air, hein, avait l'air means he looked préoccupé, busy or worried, hein, préoccupé, maybe it's more worried, he looked worried, and who was good, he was a good man. Voilà tout ce qu'on en pouvait dire. Voilà, that is all that one could say about him, because nobody really knew who he was. He arrived there in the village, but they did not know where he came from, etc., etc. Grâce au progrès rapide de cette industrie qu'il avait si admirablement remaniée, Montreuil-sur-Mer était devenu un centre d'affaires considérable. So, thanks to the quick progress of this industry, this Monsieur Madeleine, that he had so wonderfully, what shall I say, changed or remade, Montreuil-sur-Mer had become a center of business, a considerable or an important center of business. L'Espagne, qui consomme beaucoup de jade noir, y commandait chaque. So, Spain, which used or consumed, but maybe rather used a lot of black. It's a precious stone. I think it's a kind of stone that's made from coal. I don't know what you call it in English, but so black stone ordered there, each, and the rest we don't know. But so what's happened is that Monsieur Madeleine, who came to that village totally in anonymity, he started this business, this factory, and Spain was buying a lot of precious stones. So, well, this business was flourishing. Well, it was not so easy today, was it? But if you're still here, it means, well, you're tough. Very good. I hope you will be there next week also. I'm finishing my coffee and then off for today. Thank you for today. Thank you. Bye.